Good afternoon. Yesterday's opening day here at the HSBC World Matchplay Championship provided something of a shock to the system here at Wentworth. Out went Tiger Woods, out went Jim Furyk, and out went the man who has ruled this West course here no fewer than a record 6 times, Ernie Els. And to paraphrase Oscar Wilde, rather badly in this case, to lose the world #1 may be regarded as a misfortune. To lose 5 of the top 10 looks like carelessness.
There's one thing that my father taught me when I was a kid playing rugby. The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Yes, it was certainly an eventful opening day's play here, and Colin Montgomery said earlier in the week it would provide the European Ryder Cup team with a real morale booster if Tiger was to exit the scene early here at Wentworth. That's exactly what's happened. No 6 tournaments in a row run for him, and it's punctured his current air of invincibility, although I suspect that might be temporary. Also of great encouragement to Ian Woosnam, the European Ryder Cup captain, was the performance of 4 of his men here yesterday, all of them in combative mood.
Superb pitch from Montgomery.
I was never down all day, and I was one of these classic games that I felt if it had gone to the 37th, the only time it had been up would have been on that time. So I'm glad I played a good last hole.
You're 4 up and rolling them in from 25-30 feet.
This afternoon it just sort of kicked off with birdies and an eagle, and you know, when you're playing golf like that, it's fun no matter where you are. So to be in a situation where very fortunate to beat Retief just feels great and get through to the next round.
It's an interesting job. Just bobbed out in the air, runs down nicely and disappears.
Definitely the way it felt for me being out there. I mean, I wasn't nervous. I just took my shot and each at a time and a hole at a time, and it was a good day.
Along, and he done it.
Even though it's 4 matches, you have 36 holes every time, and that's a lot of golf. And you know, if I happen to get to Sunday and play Sunday, I'll definitely take Monday off and be pretty easy going on Tuesday as well to recover for next week of the Ryder Cup. But it's good practice.
Yes, encouraging performances from that quartet, and it set up the possibility of an all-European team semi-final, because this is the lineup today with a European Ryder Cup player in each one. We've got Colin Montgomery against the defending champion here, Michael Campbell of New Zealand. Paul Casey through to his 2nd Ryder Cup team. He's taking on Canada's Mike Weir, former Masters champion, of course. Robert Carlson, who played some sparkling golf yesterday, the Swede, up against Angel Cabrera, who dispatched Ernie Els yesterday. And Luke Donald, the world #10, up against the man who sent Tiger Woods packing. Sean McKeel said he was here earlier in the week, rather ironically, as a sacrificial lamb. That is certainly not the way it has turned out so far. Well, 36-hole match format again. Let's run through the first 18 this morning. We've got 2 former winners of the championship head-to-head in the first of those quarterfinals. Michael Campbell really firing this morning, 2 birdies and an eagle. He was 4 up on Colin Montgomery by the 4th. Monty clawed 2 of those back, but at the 12th he was in trouble again with a careless putt, 3 down once more. Stung by that, though, the Scot found his rhythm to produce a birdie at the 14th. And when Campbell double bogeyed the next, Monty had this birdie putt at the 16th to complete his comeback against the defending champion. They were all square at lunch. England versus Canada in match 2. when Paul Casey met left-hander Mike Weir. Never more than one hole in it all morning. Casey missed his par putt at the 13th. This was to allow Weir to take the initiative once again. Weir won up for the third time in this match. By the time they'd reached the 17th, Casey had levelled things once more and produced a terrific under-pressure putt here for his par in 5. Casey scrambling then, although Weir did have a putt at the same hole to go ahead once again in the match. Slipped by though, all square at lunch, and they'll have to do it all over again this afternoon.
Guys, well played. A real nip and tuck morning. Slightly different and difficult conditions today.
I think the wind was, swirling around a little bit, maybe a little bit more difficult to pick a club out there, and yeah, I think it played a little more difficult.
Happy with the way you played, Paul?
Well, I think we're both going to be sort of, we both missed a couple of chances out there, and we should have just had a lie in and come out and played 18 holes this afternoon. It would have been better. So it's, we're both battling against each other out there. It's going to be a good fight this afternoon.
Now, Sweden's Robert Karlsson produced fireworks yesterday to beat Jim Furyk, but against Argentina's Angel Cabrera, more bogeys than birdies. Still the odd moment of magic from the Swede, like this at the 10th, for a 2 and a win. And at the 15th, to save his par, this was the putt which protected his one-hole advantage over the man who yesterday sent Ernie Els back to his home right here on the Wentworth estate. But Cabrera couldn't buy a birdie this morning. In fact, he was missing par putts too. This at the 17th, his 4th bogey of the day to fall 2 behind. One birdie did come at the last, however, good enough to reduce his arrears, so Karlsson won up at half-time. Sean McKeel was clearly still riding the euphoria after his win over Woods. He began birdie, and 2 more followed at the 6th, and this one at the 8th. And so by the turn, he'd established a 3-hole advantage over Luke Donald. By contrast, nothing seemed to be going right for the Englishman, who's now the highest-ranked player in the world left in this championship. He was punished at the 10th, ironically, for his accuracy. Hits the pin and spins back off the green. Frustrating times for the man from High Wycombe. At the 11th, McKeel produced another onslaught with his 6th birdie of the day. This took him 4 up. Superb iron play once again from the American, and he'd stretched that advantage even further at the next. He was 5 in front by the 16th, and at this point 6 under par for his round with this putt. Brilliant round of 65 today. McKeel running away from Donald at the moment.
Sean, a great round of golf. Better standard even than yesterday when you saw off Tiger.
Well, I think I maybe figured the greens out a little bit today. I mean, just got off to a nice start. Really my goal today was just kind of par with number 1 or hit the fairway, because I didn't do that the first 2 rounds. But I just had a nice round of golf. I played well. Only mishit a couple of shots, which I think is important now that the wind's picked up a little bit. But it was just I just felt good on the greens, and I gave myself a lot of opportunities, and I was able to capitalize. Luke, on the other hand, I thought he played a great round of golf. He just didn't make the putts today.
And this is the current situation this afternoon. They went back out again at a 1:45. Montgomery had taken a 1-hole lead over Campbell, but drove out of bounds at the 4th, so it's all square in that one once again. And likewise, Mike Weir had gone 1 up, but Casey has indeed managed to win the 3rd hole, all square there. Karlsson now 2 up after birdieing the 1st, and Sean McKeel still the same situation, 5 up on Luke Donald, and Luke with an awful lot to do. So it's time for some live golf in the company of Mrs. Brown and Alliss. Before we get into it, chaps, I'm just interested to hear your thoughts on the newspapers' take on the events yesterday. Many of them saying that they consider Europe perhaps 1 up already in America, against America next week at the K Club because of the early departure of Furyk and Woods. What's your take on all of this?
Well, I take it with a pinch of salt, because you could look at it another way. They're beaten. Obviously, they didn't want to lose, but they got beaten, so they got time to rest. They've had a very busy time. Jim Furyk won the Canadian Open last week. Tiger's been working every week and doing his exercises. A rest might do him good. So I shall hold fire. I don't think it's done our team any harm. I don't think Robert Karlsson, for example, has played magnificent golf yesterday. If he keeps it going, he must go there with great confidence, Ken.
No doubt about it, Peter. Yes, I think what happens this week probably doesn't have a huge relevance on next week, but it's always nice to win. Winning breeds winning.
And newspaper men have to fill papers with all sorts of stories. Some of them almost truthful. and there's McKeel on the first tee, cracking one away. He played the best golf this morning, out in 31.
Luke Donald.
George Hammond gets them away. The final match, Luke Donald's got a mountain to climb, 5 down. But we've seen all sorts of miracle comebacks here. None more famous, of course, than Gary Player and Tony Lima many, many moons ago. Still the same nice balance, but it could be going to the right a bit.
The referee for this match is John Paramore, and the match marshal is Nick Todd.
Not what he wanted at all. Front of the bunker, can't reach the green from there.
Mobile phones. If you are following the match, please turn your mobile phone off because the noise does disturb the players. Thank you.
Well, that's the target on this lovely afternoon. A miserable morning, but the clouds have gone away and the sun's come out. The crowds are here. Carlson on the third.
Bunkers up the right-hand side. Carlson was 1 up at lunch. He birdied the first to go 2 up, and that's how he stands coming up the third. And of course, drying out. The ball's not sitting quite as quickly as they were, certainly this morning and yesterday. Always gives the ball a good ride. Over the last 6 seasons, Cabrera has averaged over 300 yards, one of the longest hitters. Tees it up high and gives it a really good biff.
Very athletic, isn't it? Gives it everything he's got. And that's miles up the fairway.
Match all square. Montgomery hit his ball out of bounds at the last hole, so against Campbell they're level. This at the 5th for a birdie. Big swinger. And perfect. Oh, a pace just holding its line, so 2 for Montgomery. Looks like someone's trodden on his scale electric. Maybe not.
This for a half. No, they both got 3s at the 3rd hole, which is very formidable. Montgomery back to 1 up. Second match after 3 holes all square. Casey and Weir. Carlson 2 up. Paul Eales will be following this final match. Paul?
Well, yes, Luke Donald's looking for a quick start, but unfortunately he's found the bunker. Sean McKeel, 219 yards. Into the wind, a little bit off the right-hand side. He's got a good 3-iron for Sean here.
Beautiful shot again. I'm very impressed with him. When he won the PGA Championship a couple of years ago and sort of slightly disappeared, he looks a very good player. I can't understand why he's not been more consistent in his play in the United States and won more events. He certainly looks as if he's got the game for it.
Well, Luke's just too close to this front lip. He can only hit it out here 100 yards into the valley below this green.
The trouble is down there, that's where all the members go, and there's hundreds of divots down there. So he may be unlucky to find a nasty spot.
Yeah, he's just in the semi-rough down the left-hand side on the crosswalk.
Didn't drop a stroke this morning, but he's got to do well not to drop one here at the first, Donald.
Only 4 matches, and they're playing at a refreshingly quick pace. This is the opening match.
Well, Montgomery on this new tee at the 6th, some 67 yards back, really ups the ante on this tee shot.
Yes, they're using a tee on the east course, and that's into a bit of bother up the left. Made this into a very good hole.
New tee back here, and also some new bunkers. There's the 3 here, and you've got the 3 driving areas. You can lay up short of this one about 250, 290 to there, or you can take this one and drive in this driving area here. So with a smallish green, you're keen to get a big tee shot away, but you've got to avoid the bunkers.
Also flirting with... That's all right.
No phones, no cameras, please. Turn them off and put them away.
Hardly a breath of wind on the 6th, but the flag's around the 18th. There's a bit of movement on it.
Colin Montgomery had some interesting comments to make earlier in the week on his form. Bit up and down this year, Colin.
You've been very self-deprecating about your form coming in so far, but when you look at what you've achieved in the summer, another runners-up spot in a major championship, and it was hot for a few weeks. It cooled a little bit.
Yes.
How are you playing now?
I'm actually playing quite well, I hate to say. I've got a good 4-week run coming up, and I look forward to it. Yes, I look forward to the end of the season. I'm very busy. Very busy, too busy to be honest, but I've got a good 6 weeks end of the year to play in as well, and because of my world ranking I'm into other events now at the end of the year, and I look forward to it all.
You seem in a very happy place at the moment, would that be fair to say?
I'm very happy, yeah, very content. I like being at home. I did a washing last night, I can't believe it, I'm even saying this. I did, and I thought, what am I doing? What is this all about? But actually, I was comfortable, I was content doing it, you know, and I was just, okay, fine. I don't do the ironing, but I do the washing. And I think that's okay, I'm quite happy. Yeah, I'm very happy.
Well, good for Colin. He can stuff the clothes in the old washing machine, but he's not too good with the iron. Good crowds here again. The 15,500 were here yesterday, which was a record.
121 yards for Luke, down below the level of the screen, just a wedge.
Grip, pretty well done. Green was very much above him when he played that shot. A chance of saving his par.
Robert Carlson, 2 up. Second shot at the 3rd hole. This multi-tiered green. Oh, they dragged it. Pulled it. Going too boldly at the flag. Now Cabrera.
He's doing a big drive. You're trying to squeeze it into a tight pin on a little ledge. Just a short iron left. Oh, stay there. Oh. The little perler.
Mike Guerra's hit his tee shot on the 4th, miles right into the trees, and it just plays out now. That's a fairly miraculous shot to get it out of there in the way that he has. He's still a long way back though. Getting closer by the 2nd.
Well, Montgomery and Campbell have both found the left-hand rough here at the 6th, but both okay. I must say the galleries with this match are absolutely huge, and they're being treated to moments of brilliance interspersed by some shots which make all of us on this side of the ropes feel a great deal better about our own games. Now, Montgomery, only a wedge here, but difficult to get this one close.
Yeah, nicely played. Heart of the green. Hardly believe when we got the news that Colin had driven out of bounds at the 4th. You've got to be pretty wide at whether you go left or right there.
In fact, Peter, he went left. He hit the trees about 130 yards off the tee, and we never saw the ball again. Campbell, though, also wedge.
I must say they're playing at a refreshing pace, and I've got a little book presented. Well, let's first watch Donald at the first. No, he loses that. They're playing at a refreshing pace. I'm in the possession of an interesting little book, How to Play Golf Quickly, by John Timpson, CBE, you know, Timpson from Wythenshawe, Manchester. It's a very bright, breezy and amusing little book, and gives you some very good thoughts on how to get round the course a bit quicker. Not that we want you to behave like Sebastian Coe, but on the other hand, there's a lot of common sense here. It's a nice little book, How to Play Golf Quickly.
Should take that off your hands, Peter.
They do well to get down to 2 from here. That looks good, though. They're getting so much better at those shots, Ken, aren't they? Heavy rough round the green.
Well, the instigation of that 60-degree wedge has made a huge difference, with a bit of extra loft on it.
Christy O'Connor used to do it with about a 7-iron. He honed the edge of it with it was like a Gillette razor blade, but he was a genius. But they all do it now. There was only one O'Connor.
Big dinner next week, isn't there, for
Monday night? Sadly, I can't be there. We sent them that little video.
Yeah. We shouldn't have taken them off, Peter.
Shouldn't have told them we sent it. That's the state of things at the moment. Monty 1 up, both of them on the both among the 6th green with putts for birdies. Carlson 1 up. Luke Donald 6 down, and running out of holes after 3 holes of the afternoon round. Does not look good for the young maestro.
Third shot for Weir at the 4th from 226 with a 4-iron. Identical distance to Casey's second. They had to toss for who went first.
Down breeze, you'd expect that to skip on a little more.
This isn't very good. Well, you could see how he was blocked out there by the trees. As Maureen Medill was saying, that we see some wonderful shots and then we see some awful sort of bloomers, but that's the joy, the excitement of match play. And it really, when I say it doesn't matter, of course it does, but you only lose a hole if you make an awful botch of it.
Monty in to see Campbell's putt. Just sliding from left to right at the cup. Montgomery putting on the same line. Collins just 1 up. Michael Campbell with his own line of clothing.
Now Colin down the hill, quick.
Identical line to Montgomery's. I beg your pardon, to Campbell's. Chance for Montgomery to double his lead.
That's left.
All off in for Montgomery, remains 1 up.
So off they go to number 7.
Casey's third shot, a pitch of 50 yards or so. Should be able to land it on the green and stop it right, even downwind.
Coming round, coming round.
The wind is certainly freshening as it did yesterday afternoon. Montgomery 1 up on New Zealander Michael Campbell, the defending champion, seeded 1. Match 2, Casey and Weir all square. Castle 1 up on Cabrera. Donald now 6 down on Sean McKeel.
Wheel's 4th shot. Tails away, but that could well be conceded.
Very quickly to Montgomery off the 7th tee. Just a placement tee shot down the slope. Very nicely done. These fellas have been playing just under an hour and they've played 6 holes, so they're speeding round.
Ideal tee shot here is just to leave it at 250 yards out from the tee. It's downwind, downhill. Most players going with a little 5-wood.
Very quick rhythm, which gets him into trouble on occasion. If he could just slow it down a whisker, he might be able to do that if he were to grip the club very lightly. If you're having problems, just try that when you go out next time. Hold the club very lightly and maintain that pressure if you can all the way through. Don't sort of re-grab the handle. You'd be amazed how you can slow yourself down because you're frightened of the club flying out of your hand. Interesting hole, this one, Ken.
Yes, it must be one of the least changed ones of Harry Colt, the original designer. You drive to the top of the hill, it's about 220 yards, and then down a little flat area where there's a lot of divots at times, to this very steep 2-tier green. Interesting, the flag on the very front right today, which is a very accessible spot because you can use a little slope behind the flag. But anything, just a fraction shot, is gobbled up by that bunker. You're talking about gripping it lightly. That's one of Michael Campbell's things. He's often saying to me, I'm gripping it too tightly.
Too tight.
Yeah.
Now there's a big left to right. Casey to win the hole. Hard putt this. No. It's so difficult to get it absolutely right. Well,
McKeel for a deuce. Oh, another one. Absolutely superb. He really has putted beauty. 24 putts this morning. He looks to have his eye right in.
Well, he's relentless, and of course he's giving Luke Donald, who's played steady. He hasn't made any terrible mistakes, Luke, but just the occasional miscue. He's paid for it every time. He's got a whole list to stop going 7 down. No. Oh, dear, dear, dear. We'll be in for an early dish of tea if it goes on at this rate.
Right, we're with a fairly straightforward uphiller, up the slope for par. Oh.
Well, that is a very, very rare sight to see. We're missing from anything within 6 feet. He's usually the most beautiful putter. So he's got a pair of those non-creased trousers on, young Casey. They're very fashionable.
Monty's got an inviting pin position here. He's got the backstop behind the pin, only a wedge.
The easiest pin position here at the 7th, on the lower level. They're being very kind today.
Slightly trickier angle from the right side of the fairway. And here she comes. Big 2-level green this, the front level 5 feet, maybe 6 feet lower than the back.
Michael Campbell, the defending champion, some interesting thoughts on the format of match play.
Match play, how much does it suit your game? How much do you enjoy it in comparison to stroke play?
I mean, a match play is always, I think, easier. You're just focusing on one opponent rather than 150 other guys. You can be a bit more aggressive, so you can make a bunch of birdies out there and hopefully do well. I really enjoy the format of match play. It's a bit of fun. It's different. We play stroke play events all the time, most of the time of the year, and on 2 occasions this week, and obviously the start of the year, there's another one there that we play match play. So it's a format I really enjoy, and it's a great spectacle for all the people watching too.
Lastly, when you came here last year, you were riding the crest of a wave as a US Open winner. 12 months on, what's it been like trying to live up to the expectations of a major win? How different is the whole year because of it?
I'm my own worst enemy, you could say. My own expectations really were a bit too much. I was trying too hard, I think it was, and when you won a big one like I did last year, or 2 really, this one, and US Open, your expectations go a little bit higher, and I just tried too hard. So I'm trying to relax more and just have some fun.
Not a bad way of thinking about things if you've got his sort of game.
Drifting a little to the left. Half a club too many. Very sheltered tee that, you can't feel the breeze.
Mike Weir on the 5th with a 5-iron, 201 to the flag.
Splendid. He's lost the last 2 holes with bogeys. He's now 1 down to Casey.
Montgomery for a 3. There's a little touch of movement on this, but again, you've got to get the speed right. No, it was always, you watch very carefully, you can see when they're about halfway there, the sort of direction they're getting into, and that, well, Bondi didn't hit it hard enough. A little touch of left to right movement. Campbell's is the same, but I fancy it's just inside the left edge with a little bit of pace on it. Collins' ball barely staggered to the whole side.
Well, Campbell has the opportunity to learn a little something from Montgomery's effort. It was t'other way round on the last green. And I think you're absolutely right, Peter. I don't see this being outside the hole, but he needs to hit it with a little bit of pace.
Too much. Oh, well now, will that, they've been very generous in their concessions, but Collins wandered to the other side of the green and things are very quiet at the moment. A little bit of psychology, you see, because they've been giving each other putts. Campbell knocks it by a good yard, maybe a bit more than a yard, and he'll be thinking, oh, whatever they think about, and you can get a little bit careless. So he settled himself. Oh, no, half in 4. Montgomery stays 1 up.
Looking down on the par 5 4th green. Cabrera iron 2, slope it up the hill for a 3. Amazingly steep bit of green this flag's got on the right hand side today.
15,500 spectators were here yesterday. That's a large improvement. It was 6,000 on last year.
Now, this is just enough up the hill that you've got a chance of having a go at it. Huge break. Dive to the right. It lacks any pace at all. Hit it. Oh, he's hit it perfectly.
He struck some good touch, you know, the last day and a half.
Two landing areas here at the 8th, giving the players a choice as to what they're going to do. First one before the humps will leave them something like 150 yards in. If you're feeling brave, you can try to go for the second bit of fairway over the humps, but most players this week spurning that option, just playing a little fairway wood or a long iron for position.
The breeze freshening almost directly from left to right, this 8th.
Montgomery to the lower half of the fairway on the level bit. Very attractive, isn't it, looking back up there?
Campbell going for the same play as Montgomery.
Good spectator area around there, the 7th green, 8th tee, 9th green, 10th green, 11th tee. Years ago there used to be one big 100-foot tower there with a cameraman on the top, used to point his camera hither and thither and show golf. Right from our right hand side now he could show you this hole, the 8th, which has been altered and sculptured over the last 14 or 15 months, and you'll notice how much bigger the pond is. That's a new pond on the right. It's all cleaned out and enlarged. New little bunker on the right. Very nice. It's 400 yards, a nice par 4.
Mike Weir. Chance for a 2 at this short hole to win the hole. Oh my goodness. It's a half and 3.
Well, he's missing. He's had a few opportunities.
Because it's for a win, you just give it that bit extra, and it's so easy to hit it too firm, you hit it through the break.
Yeah, which is exactly what he did. The 3rd green. Paul Eales is following this final match of the day.
Well, Sean McKeel's already in the hole. Beautifully played par 4, putted from the bottom slope up to a matter of inches. And this is the result of Luke Donald's chip from the hollow to the left of the green. Beautifully played, but just ran on, so he's got this putt a little bit right to left to save from going 8 down.
Well, brave putt. Seven down, 15 to play. Not a happy prospect. Just a little moment, I'd like to send some greetings to Dick Jones, a great supporter of our wheelchair crusade from the Rudman Golf Club up in North Wales. What great things they've done in our efforts to supply wheelchairs for young handicapped folk. Well, Dick, we hear you're not too good at the moment, but we wish you well. I hope you're up and about soon. You might be able to join us at Ely at the end of the year for our wheelchair classic, which unfortunately this year clashes with the Grand Match down in Deal. So I won't be on parade, but be a special do. Now Colin's pondering what to play.
Yes, the breeze is getting up here. And it was left to right, but it funnels down these fairways. And this is the Wentworth that we know and love with these teasing questions for the players. 151 for Montgomery. He's going with a 9-iron. Still looking skywards, but it's a 9-iron he's got in his hand at the moment.
Well, if he pitches short more in with the slope on this green, this is one of those shots. It could get a lot of spin that he doesn't really want on this. Maybe. It's all in the lap of the gods, really. Look at that. You see that sat down absolutely by the whole side. They don't come much better than that. That's a 3. Just watch this sit down, bang, just one pitch. And he moved forward, oh, no more than a foot, 14 inches. Then sat down. How often we see that happen? And then spin takes on and back it goes 8 to 10 yards. He's thinking about it. He's probably thinking about his next cycle of washing. Do I put the powder in first? What about one of those little blue things? Touch of softener. Don't forget the spin dryer.
No point in shying from the pin for Campbell, and it's drifted. I think in the right-hand bunker. With a slope of right to left from the bunker, you've got to aim between the sand and the pin to get close. So maybe 2 down for Michael Campbell in a moment or two, but who knows?
Yeah, that was a superb shot of Montgomery's. This has become a splendid golf complex, because a lot of people think this is a bit too grand, but it's a majestic clubhouse that stands up to anything in Europe and the equal of many in the United States. But it is, you could bring anybody here. It's the sort of Harrods of the golfing world. So different from some of the other golf courses in this area, which are wonderful, but they're what I call golf courses. There's no swimming pools and not country clubs. They're places to play golf.
Well, we got a very unusual situation on the 6th. Mike Weir, again with his tee shot, has come right over the top of it and gone miles into the trees right, and also a long way back, so far back that he landed in the trees behind the spectator fencing, which the marshals have moved, and the referee with the match, Ian Patterson, doesn't think they should have moved. So he's just trying to find out now what to do. He's 214 yards back from the flag.
Certainly a squiffy one. With the new tee quite substantially further back, some 60-odd yards, it does force the players into hitting some sort of wood off the tee. In the old days, it was usually a prod with a 3-iron. But usually a very reliable fairway finder, Mike Weir. The first left-hander to win a major when he won the Masters since Bob Charles. Bob Charles won in 1963.
Well, Montgomery has marked his ball. His putt hasn't been conceded, but Campbell must feel that he's got this for a half.
I think we can go on to the next tee comfortably. Colin was all ready to knock that 12-incher in. Keeps his marker in his back pocket. He's the only player I know to keep his marker in the back right-hand pocket. We often get asked, what do they mark the ball with? Sometimes it's a little 5-pence piece or an old 6-pence or power putt that misses. Oh my! Some of them have a little Lucky Charm or St. Christopher sort of thing. A little
Carlson wins the hole
coin.
in 3. Carlson is 3 up.
3 up, and Cabrera looking a bit grumpy. Quite a bit of superstition in most games. There certainly is in golf.
Barriers were moved. Right. So, well, okay, I'll just let him go, I think.
Play the ball
I think, yeah, I don't even ask him. Where was the barrier? You never asked for this to move, actually. You just
Yep.
Okay.
What to do? You're not supposed to move fences?
Yeah, you're not supposed to move.
Okay.
So you would just take relief. I'm just trying to work out now. There's no problem with you, obviously. You'd ask them to move.
No, I didn't say that.
I'm just working on now whether we need to reinstall them and then take relief. I think that's
The rules are getting more complex, Ken. Julian's down there. I'm sure he'll fill us in a moment, but sometimes you can move things, sometimes you can't, sometimes you can squiggle your feet about, sometimes you do. Getting more and more complex and complicated. Two of the best men in the world there, Patterson on the left,
you go to the edge
Fee on the right.
and then work from there.
So I have to go to that side of the fence over there?
Yeah.
So what do you want me to do?
Yeah. Okay. We're going to reinstall the barrier. I mean, that's the fair thing. Mike is entitled to relief from those. They shouldn't have been moved. And his relief is going to put him over there. So the equitable thing to do is to take him to that point. Okay.
So I'd have to go to that point anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that way you're going out of bounds, the barrier goes right away. So we just got to go to your nearest point, which is inside the barriers. So we'll work on this.
I think Andy McPhee's made it fairly clear what the problem is, that they shouldn't have moved the barrier. He was entitled to relief away from it. That's in the local rules. So in equity, they're going to replace the barrier and give him relief away to the side, which is going to be a real bonus for Mike Weir.
Stay back behind the ropes, please.
Pretty ropey old drive, Julian.
He's had a couple now where he's, I think, just been trying to fade it, and he's cross-controlled himself and come right over the top with a shut club face.
Okay, so it's your nearest point of relief, which is going to be around here somewhere. Plus one club length. Want to mark it out.
Those these are sort of situations Ken the club player doesn't have to contend with, because he doesn't play in normal Town Cities Golf Club with all these barriers and advertising hoardings and goodness knows what, television cables and everything in the way. But this is a bonus for Weir. He's got away with a terrible drive then. He's now into a hittable position.
Just how much, Julian, is this helped him?
Oh, massively. There was no way he would have got to the green before. Well, I mean, it would have been a miracle shot if he had done. Now he's got every chance.
This situation has slowed play down considerably. Casey and Weir, the second match out.
From this sort of range, this is quite a small target to hit. It was a free drop, so he's just playing his second to this very small putting surface.
Yes, he's almost got to skirt along those trees on the right. See the bunker? His line's almost over the middle of that bunker.
Just having talked to Ian Patterson, the ruling was that as he was within 4 club lengths of the barrier, he's entitled to relief out to the side. Nearest point of relief and then 1 club length, so that's what he's got. And it may just get him off the hook. Still a long shot, 210 to the flag.
Seemed to hit it nicely. Well, bit shy, caught the sound.
Well, Colin Montgomery hit a dreadful hoik off this 9th tee, just like he did on the 4th. A ball has been found just in the last 2 or 3 seconds. It's about 6 inches out of bounds. They think it's Montgomery's ball. He has to come and identify it. And I don't think anybody wants to give him this news.
Very unusual for Montgomery to hook the ball, though. It's a couple of big pulls.
He's conceded.
Well, that's the railway that runs up the left-hand side of the 9th. It's only about 12, 14 yards off the sort of edge of the fairway. It's quite close.
Montgomery, 1 up.
But he's not interested in going back and playing 3 off the tee. On to the next, one up. He used to be the straightest driver in the world, Kenny. Hardly ever missed a fairway during the whole season, and now he seems to be quite wayward.
I was noticing when he was practicing yesterday morning, he was standing a long way open, hitting big cuts, and I think when you get the ball a long way forward in your stance, then you just suddenly release your hands, and out of nowhere comes a sizzling hook down the left.
At last, Casey can play his second to the 6th, 150 yards of the 9-iron.
Shunting it forward, coming in from the right. Well, certainly won't win a shot of the month with that one.
So check on the situation. Montgomery loses the 9th, concedes the 9th, so goes into the back 9, 1 up. Casey looks, well, he's got a chance of going 2 ahead if Weir's got a nasty line in the bunker. Carlson, well, he's going ahead thanks to Cabrera's wayward play, really. And McKeel is continuing his move. Beautiful play. He's hit straight, found the green, putted quite beautifully. And Paul, he looks invincible.
Well, yeah, a little adventurous down this par 5. He hit his tee shot way to the right into a lateral water hazard. Fortunately for him, there was no water in it, and he extricated it from there onto the green. So he's got this for an eagle 3.
Comfortable 4, even though he had a wayward tee shot.
Putting up this is like the electric bray. You know it looks uphill, but somehow can't get yourself to hit it hard enough. A bit steeper than it looks. Second place coming in the last major of the year, the US PGA Championship.
Well, down the middle, onto the green for Luke Donald. This left to right putt to win a hole back.
We're digging deep, and comes up with a little bit of genius there. So it looks like after that long time waiting for the ruling, it's going to pay dividends. Looks like a simple par now.
Yes, and suddenly the strain's back on Casey. He's got a long downhill putt that could easily slip by. It's very easy to 3-putt from here. Beautifully done. That's absolutely superb judgment of pace. So 2 very different 4s, and on they go.
Hold his half in 4, Casey remains 1 up.
Well, it's an hour and 27 minutes since this pair teed off in their afternoon round. Bearing in mind, though, that we did actually walk the length of the 4th and the length of the 9th due to a couple of bad tee shots of Montgomery's. And again, Campbell just taking his time in assessing this blustery wind. Seems to have died out here. We are at the far end of the golf course. Not much happening from where I'm standing at the moment, wind-wise.
When the ball gets up above the tree line, though, it's affected many times, Maureen, isn't it?
It is. Campbell's settled now, finally, 7-iron.
Flag's on the front. I didn't hear it, I didn't see it. Over there, well, he gave it a lot of thought. Opening for Montgomery.
Not much of a target they're aiming at today, though, Maureen.
No, the green's angled and sits across them, Ken. The pin's on the front left-hand corner. It's a very narrow little isthmus of green there. Not usually too difficult to find the putting surface, but these guys are really going for birdies. But it's a most intriguing match for the spectators. As I said earlier, some brilliant shots and then some that just leave them gasping for other reasons.
Well, just gone onto the edge of the green. Good shot.
McKeel shaping up to draw this one in, teeing up on the left-hand side. Here she comes, another splendid iron, heart of the green. He's 7 up. And of course, if you're chasing, you have to get after the pins. That's going to be a bit of a struggle for Luke Donald. He's 7 down.
Well, the man in form over the last couple of days has been Sean McKeel, and well, he's got a touch of magic.
And you have even more confidence after that win yesterday?
Well, of course. I mean, you know, I played pretty well yesterday. I think yesterday was a bit more of a challenge. I think the pins were a little bit more difficult yesterday than they are today. You know, a lot of the pins were in the very backs of the green, so the balls were spinning back. You had a lot more longer, tight putts. But, you know, anytime you can beat the best player in the world, you got to be feeling pretty good about your game.
So finally, when you've got that lead now going into the final 18 holes, do you change the plan at all?
No, I mean, I'm still playing the same that I did yesterday. Again, I think that if you hit the fairways, the greens are so receptive that you can, as long as you don't make too many mental errors, I mean, you can get the ball close to the hole. And after that, it's all about making the putt. So I'm going to hopefully continue on hitting the fairways and hitting the greens and give myself some chances, and hopefully the putter will still work.
Sounds very simple, doesn't it?
Doesn't it just? Doesn't it just? Largest winning margins. 12 and 11, 12 and 11. Both Goosens. Big wins, aren't they?
Tom Watson beating Dale Hayes. That record lasted a long while. They had 20 years, the heaviest defeat.
Well, Michael Campbell's lying in the middle of the bunker here. He'll throw this one up high, but must not run past the hole, giving himself a downhill putt.
Just one or two signs that Mike Weir might be struggling with his swing. He didn't hit a proper tee shot here on the 7th either. It only just landed at the top of the slope. He's got lucky. It's run down into perfect position now. 116 left for his second at the 7th. Not the easiest pin to find on the front, although there is a nice backstop behind and it's downwind. Could spin it back off the ramp behind if he wants.
Very difficult to get it absolutely adjacent to this flag, because when it comes back down the slope, it just swings away from the pin.
Yeah, no worries.
Casey with a perfect tee shot. His caddy Craig is doing a lot of marshalling. Only 105 yards left for him. And really quite a stiff breeze on his back now.
This man can spin them. Got to pitch it past.
Well, they made it look easy. That's the easiest position this slag could be on this green. And with that fine shot, it's time to hand over. Oh, a little bit of a kip. Well, over to Andrew Cotter.
Thank you very much, Peter. It's gone to a lovely day out there, and it's shaping up very well for the Europeans at the moment. Montgomery up, Paul Casey one up, Carlson up, and Luke Donald, the only one of the European team who's finding it hard at the moment against a man who's not playing in the United States team, Sean McHale. So good, enjoy a break and we'll enjoy the golf. A bit shaky, Montgomery, not a very Monty-esque round. 3 X's in his card, but this to win at the 10th. Can't recall seeing Montgomery driving out of bounds 3 times in a couple of days. Drove out of bounds yesterday on the 15th, and already twice he's been out of bounds today. But he's still 1 to the good, and may soon be 2.
For the half. Amazing greens. If you try and force one in on these greens, somehow or other it just breaks as it's coming towards the hole, and they very rarely seem to hold them. You've got to dive them into the cup. So a slightly frittered away hole there from Michael Campbell.
A lot of players seem to struggle on these greens. We heard Sean McHale saying that he was only just getting used to them today, and Tiger obviously struggled yesterday. Here is McHale for birdie. That would have been a whole heap of salt in a big wound for Luke Donald. He's missed one. He's picked up pace as it whipped around the hole. So he's still got a little bit of work to do.
To win the hole. Oh. So far, I'd have to say his flower shot's been closed on Valentine's Day when it comes to his putting, that's for certain. Poor old Luke Donald. And a few good ones that have slid past the edge.
If there is a question mark over any part of his game, it is perhaps that he doesn't quite hole as many putts or get quite so hot with a putter as others, as this man certainly has been today.
Casey to win the hole. Good 3. Mike Weir missed his opportunity. Casey moves 2 up.
Now Carlson. This is to half the 6th. So one of his hole's advantage is gone.
4. Carlson is 2 up.
Just a little bit of space between the players now in the matches. Montgomery 2 up on Campbell, Casey 2 up on Mike Weir. Carlson, well, he's let 1 slip back there in the 6th, but still 2 to the good against Cabrera. And McHale 7 up against Luke Donald. Remarkable scoreline, remarkable scoring from McHale this morning.
Nothing extravagant on the 8th. And you would expect nothing else from Paul Casey. Just played down the fairway with an iron, not taking on the not quite a ditch, but ridge across at the end of the fairway.
A look of insouciance as it just heads down to that end portion of the top fairway.
Very interesting to see what Mike Weir does with this. His last 3 full swings have not been at all good.
This is a fairly generous target, this one.
Six yards in front of that right.
139. He's managed to miss it with quite an amount of conviction. And where the pin is today on that right-hand side, this is a poor angle to come in from. Whereas Casey's in the perfect spot coming off the fairway. So Mike Weir under a bit of pressure, 2 down. He's got the slow walk going down the 8th.
Julian was saying perhaps just beginning to struggle with his swing a little bit. Michael needs a club here.
Interesting situation here on the 11th with Campbell. He's hooked his tee shot. It's clattered into the trees. It's come down just on the edge of the path. It's only 250 yards from the trees. He has no sight of the green whatsoever. He's not got a great lie. He's got trees and bushes in his way. He's actually entitled to relief, but he hasn't chosen to ask the referee for it. I said to the referee, if he asks you, is he entitled to the relief? And he says yes. So I think Campbell is unaware of that.
Relief
Might
from what?
help
Sorry.
his plight just a little bit.
Is this from the path?
Yes, he will be standing on the path, Ken, but it's just, you know, he's not taking an advantage that is due to him.
The player has to ask for the relief, has to ask for the ruling until it's given it. The referee can't come over in the spirit of generosity and say, you can get away from that, Michael. The player has to ask, Maureen, is that the...
Yes, indeed. I mean, the player would have to say, I'm entitled, I'm taking a drop, is that okay? And okay, and the referee steps in, says yay or nay. I don't think it's occurred to Campbell.
It was a real Captain Cook off the tee there, look. 176 yards left. There's a few stones behind his ball, so he may yet, the referee may yet wander over. He might just be okay. He's got to hit a big swerving hook. Montgomery in reasonable shape, as long as he's avoided the heather.
Yes, Montgomery's had a really lucky break. He's left of that sneaky little bunker on the left-hand side here on the upslope in the semi-rough. Now this is interesting because the referee's been called in possibly because Campbell thinks there's an embedded stone behind the ball.
No gap going this way. What? You get nothing in the way at all if you go. No, just left the trip.
Just go and tell him more, for goodness sake, and drop it off the path.
I think he perhaps knows he can get a drop, but if he stays there, he can get through that gap left of the tree.
I see that shot. I'll take the relief. See if I drop the spot. Yeah.
Well, this seems to be taking an inordinate amount of time. I think really he was asking the referee could he move a stone, which is a loose impediment, and I think from that came the realization that he was in fact entitled to a drop.
Go through the process of dropping it twice if it doesn't produce a satisfactory drop. i.e. not away from the original problem in the first place, then you just place it.
Well, Montgomery meanwhile is waiting in the middle of the fairway. We've sprinted down some holes, we've had some lengthy waits on others. And he's got a better lie now, but he still has to try and hook this some 30 yards.
will return for the adventures of Michael Campbell, but Luke Donald back in the 6th. Trying desperately to force his way back into this match. That will not do it. Does he have to start attacking the pins? It's a dangerous game.
Oh, and a slight misjudgment. Just pitching on the little bank to the left of this pin at number 6, McKeel, and it's okay. Give you an idea of the line of the pin. It's in this kind of line here. So he's dropped the ball in a good spot to get through the gap in the trees.
That's a great escape. Used the rules, then used his skill. He should escape with a par.
What a deep bunker this, and Donald's played that. And a delicate touch. On the US statistics, he's the best out of sound on that tour, getting down in two, sorry.
Cabrera, 2nd to the 7th. Up the hill, gouging that one out. No. Stay there. Angry Argentine.
Found a nice friendly lie, McKeel. It looks like a half in 4s.
He was pounding the ground. It looked like he was just... That's the swing he should have put on it. Beautiful.
Any of you felt like that before playing golf? Quite an inviting little chip this one, Andrew, up the slope. Little bit of bank to sort of stun the ball in. Good lie.
A few players might even take the pin out for this one. He's not been firing on all cylinders. Not a single birdie until the very last hole this morning for an approximate round of 75, which round this course with his distance and his skill is very poor indeed.
Casey putting into the shadows at the 8th. A terribly impressive putt after an ideal tee shot, unless he found a poor lie in the fairway. Well, Tiger's not out this afternoon, but the crowd's still out enjoying the golf.
This to go just one down for Mike Weir. Oh. He thought he had it. He may still have the hole. Casey's got a very fiddly putt coming back, which we will come back for.
Well, Montgomery has put his in pin high again, the master of distance control, some 20 feet right of the flag. But Campbell now facing a big right to left swinging putt up the hill.
Saw Steve Elkington, who was going great guns last year, the veteran Australian, on his way to the title.
A testy one. And if you look at two players, I think putting the best so far this week, Paul Casey and Robert Carlson are most confident on the greens. Beautiful putt.
So this is the situation. Colin Montgomery 2 up, as you've been seeing on Michael Campbell, but he's battling hard as the defending champion and #1 seed. Paul Casey, it's taken a while. In fact, it took it till the 4th in this second round against Mike Weir to finally go ahead of the Canadian, but he's consolidated that lead, as has Robert Carlson. He's 3 up. This is Colin Montgomery now. Could he be about to go 3 up as well?
Just a gust of wind making Montgomery back off his putt there. Now he's got a real opportunity here to take this match by the scruff of his neck and move 3 up. These two players have been very generous in encouraging each other with various rank bad shots, frankly. Not stepping up to the plate, but maybe this time.
It's nearly a rank bad putt. Neither of those two putts is done and dusted yet. So much money on offer this week, £1 million for the winner. First round losers, those who departed the scene yesterday. Tiger Woods gets £60,000 to pay for his private plane fuel. Those who lose today, £80,000, and so on and upwards to £1,400,000 for the loser on Sunday.
Two little knee knockers left for Campbell and Montgomery. This one is outside the hole, right to left, line and pace must be perfect.
They do like to play at a great pace, Campbell and Montgomery, until Campbell's adventures in the trees there, as Maureen was saying, they've been romping around. Good job they're the first match out.
Huge crowds here. It's inevitable that some people are walking on the other side of the hole from Montgomery. He's just waiting for them to settle down. This to remain 2 up.
He always says he putts better in match play situations. It's something about the finality of it on each hole. It doesn't leave them perhaps as short, as shy as he does sometimes in stroke play.
Bunkers left and right of this 9th. Tees the ball very high and gets a towering flight with his driver.
Mike Weir trying to match that. Casey's absolutely marmalised his drive. He's about 300 yards into the wind.
A slightly anxious stare. It's a long way behind the incredible Casey.
Montgomery will be thinking of all those left tee shots he's hit. Sometimes that makes it go right.
This is going the other way a little bit. But okay, or is it? Straight in the ditch. There's a little ditch right and a ditch left. I think they're rather cruel hazards.
There's no getting round it. Monty is driving very poorly. Is that off to the right as well? It certainly is. Further right, but maybe a far better result than Monty's.
smallish green, and the key here on this hole is where you position your drive. This is a dog leg from right to left. Got a good tee shot away, the green reachable in 2. Now these fellas are both ventured down this right-hand side. It does give you a view of the green, because if you drive down the left, and that's probably why they've drifted over there, you get unsighted to the putting surface. So very much a positional tee shot off this 12th. But Montgomery driving into the ditch. Campbell, a pretty poor effort, really needed to find the fairway.
Again, this very friendly pin position on the 7th. Land it beyond, spin it back. Another one finds its target from Sean McKeel. Against Luke Donald, and all over Luke Donald at the moment. Doesn't seem to have done too much wrong, Luke Donald. He's been peppering the flag. Has missed more 15, 20 footers than I care to mention today.
4-iron for Mike Weir's second to the 9th from 198.
Stand still on the right there.
40 yards difference in the drive, just 158 left for Casey. Wind is mainly off the right.
Splendid shot. Just been watching Mike Weir's swing. Sometimes when you're playing against a big hitter, you can lose your rhythm in your endeavour to catch up. Do you think his rhythm's got a bit snatchy for Mike Weir?
That could easily be the answer, Ken. Yeah, I think clearly he's not a big hitter, but then he's used to not being a big hitter on the tour anyway. So, but then I suppose he's in a head-to-head situation here.
I always remember when I played with Sandy Lyle, he could hit the ball a country mile with his little three-quarter swing. You ended up trying to stress and snatch at the ball to catch up with him.
And that was with his 1-iron. You see Monty up in the distance there, foraging around in the ditch. Campbell's quite a long way back, but Montgomery, when it comes to his turn, will be dropping out and playing his third. Loose shots again, Maureen. You said there have been some rank bad shots in this group, but the uncharacteristic Monty today, certainly.
Yes, and you know, Andrew, sometimes when you're playing a match, you start to take on the colour of your opponent. You start to play very similarly. There's a bit of a feel of that, but Michael Campbell was very fortunate here. He was heading to the trees and he actually hit and was stopped by somebody's bag.
Well, I put here for Sean McKeel on the 7th hole. This would take him 8 up in the match. Luke Donald's ball just shaving the edge of the hole. But that's gone now. This for a birdie 3 and a win.
And Campbell electing to play short of the ditch that runs across this fairway some 50 yards from the pin.
Just keep your distance from Colin at the moment, Maureen.
I'm well up the fairway with plenty of people between me and him.
No. Didn't do anything.
I had a caddy once used to say, once the milk has been spilt, it's difficult to put Humpty Dumpty back on the wall again.
What was your caddy on? I think I understand the meaning.
There's a big shot here from Montgomery. He's got 245 yards to go. It's slightly uphill, and this green's always in shadow in the afternoon, gets slow.
A little bit leftish as well. That's that post back in. Now, birdie putt from Mike Weir on the 9th. Paul Casey very close. Not about that close, actually. Not quite still him away, but that was aggressive.
Force that one in. Keeps himself very steady over the ball, Paul Casey, and just pops the ball with his putter.
Cabrera. Let's take it back to just 2 down, showing his frustration earlier on, not so frustrated after that. Cabrera against Monty, who would win? Monty's 2 up at the moment to Campbell. Casey 2 up against Mike Weir. Carlson 2 up on Cabrera. See Cabrera just getting 1 back there at the 8th. And Sean McKeel, well, it is surely just a matter of time for Luke Donald. McKeel 7 up after his tiger slaying heroics of yesterday.
Two of Casey's wins on this night have come with pars. Just steady golf being played by Paul Casey this afternoon, unlike yesterday, so he's 2 up.
Probably.
As you mentioned earlier, he certainly unburdened by
anything of it.
unburdened by thoughts of the Ryder Cup next week or any huge expectation on him, Sean McKeel. He's playing without a care in the world.
Michael Campbell's third at the par 5, squeezing it under the breeze and can't do much better than that without finding the bottom of the cup. This for the half. And, ooh, a darn good effort from a horrible clingy lie. Montgomery now only 1 up.
Paul Casey with 172 to the flag. It looks as though he's got an 8-iron, which is a big hit. He had a 7-iron this morning.
it was the 8, he needed the 7. You can have that. It was the wrong one. Craig Conley is caddy. Where has that wind gone? Just clean it, put it back in the bag, move on.
Yeah, that's quite a baffling club selection, really, because the wind, if anything, it's off the left, and maybe it is just hurting a fraction, but it's so difficult really to know down here exactly where it is, in amongst the trees. Weir's going with a 7-9. Casey's was bang on line.
It's down in the valley. Mike Weir's losing his way slightly.
Well, Luke Donald just trying to sweep one or two insects that are flying around his ball. Just disturbing him. Took a fairway wood off the tee to find the second part of the fairway, and he's left with 94 yards, just a sand wedge to the green here.
Clean club face and softish greens and short irons. The players get a lot of nip these days.
Steer a true path. Once you're in trouble. Just a fantastic gadget. I want one. He's down in the mid-200s in the world rankings, Sean McKeel, earlier this year, and has really hauled himself up with that runner-up place in the USPGA behind Tiger Woods. As he mentioned, he was suffering from low testosterone levels. Had the testosterone levels of a 70-year-old man, his doctor said. Had an alcohol-based rub in his shoulder. He was wondering why he didn't have the energy to go out and practice, or the real drive to go out there and play so much golf. And suddenly he's playing 36 holes a day and romping round Wentworth in red figures.
Fitness is certainly going to play a part in this championship. 36 holes a day for 4 days in a row if you're going to take the title.
A couple of different tee shots. Casey playing first, but Mike Weir is plugged in the face of the bunker.
Not quite rolling in the putts as he was earlier today, but he's 7 up. He doesn't really need to do a great deal, but there's a chance, just a chink of light. The door is open an inch or two for Luke Donald. Talk about all the great comebacks, and Peter was mentioning Gary Player 7 down after 19 holes to Tony Lima. Ernie Els 6 down after 18 to Steve Stricker. Sandy Lyle 6 down after 18 to Nick Faldo. They all came back and won. It can be done.
They've just finished.
Finally.
This would be a much easier shot for a right-hander. Very tricky for the left-handed Weir in the bunker on the 10th. Down to come out running out of this plug lie.
Good angle to get to the 13th pin for Montgomery. Clear view. And Campbell just inside him. Montgomery just that slender lead, 1 up. Got a funny feeling this is going to go to the final holes.
Mike Weir, after digging himself out of the sand. That's a very good sand save. Saves his par and leaves Casey with a bit of tidying up to do. He rattles them in, Paul Casey, when he's holding putts well. Smack into the back of the hole.
Cabrera.
Stand back. Oh. Semi-finalist last year. Cabrera lost to McGinley. Loves Wentworth, but is playing very poorly indeed today. Montgomery with that narrow lead over Campbell, playing the 13th. Campbell very close indeed there. Paul Casey 2 up against Mike Weir. Carlson also 2 up against Cabrera. And Sean McKeel, well, McDonald's whittled it away to 6.
So important to find the fairway on the 11th with a shot that requires real control into the green.
The 11th, 416 yards. Often just a placement tee shot with a 3-wood, but more players going with the driver because it's match play. You get a good drive away. It's just a little 3/4 short iron to this heavily sloping green. With a breeze in the face and a good lie and a short iron, you know you're going to put quite a lot of backspin on with your second shot.
See if Weir can get it together now. Find the cut grass. Started it down the left.
Further down the left, trees and back. He's looking decidedly ragged. He's fiddling, he's tinkering.
Can Montgomery read this for a 3? No. Just this front right corner of the 13th is extremely tough to see the lines on the putt, so he's in for a 4. Campbell has this to win the hole. And he's done it. All square. Campbell goes 4-3, birdie, birdie, gets a couple back. Defending champion, battling away bravely.
You do start to wonder, Ken, because a full 36 holes against David Hill yesterday for Colin Montgomery. This one may go all the way. 36 holes in a day of sheer concentration, with the Ryder Cup to come next week as well. Not sure that the Americans will be too upset that Tiger Woods and Jim Furyk are often having a rest. It does take it out of you, though.
Oh, there's absolutely no doubt about that, because you gear your day to playing 18 holes. It's like asking a 1,500-metre runner suddenly run a lot further than he's used to, so you do get a little tired. But match play drives you on. It's a head-to-head thing. Both players will be feeling a little fatigued. Looking from behind the 14th tee. Very much uphill. Club selection vital. Difficult to club, particularly when the breeze is swirling. And you can see as you climb up to the front of the green, the pin just above the little tear in the green. Little ledge that runs right across the putting surface. The flag probably 2.5 yards on the flat above that. Maybe 3 yards.
Well, you can't help but feel, but the man who gets his tee shots under control is going to win this. 181 yards up the hill. 5 iron for Campbell.
He's lost that left, Maureen. Thankfully for Campbell, it came down off that back slope in the bunker, but there is very little green to play with there.
Can you feel any breeze down there, Maureen? Is there any air moving?
Not really, Ken. I'm looking at the flags up at the top of the grandstand at the back of the green, and they're absolutely limp. No air here at all. I was just watching Montgomery walk up to the 13th green there. He looks a bit weary to me. He just suddenly looks as if he's wearing some very heavy golf shoes indeed.
And occasionally there's a pebble in one of them. It's a slight advantage to Montgomery, an awkward bunker shot left for Michael Campbell.
Yards to go.
One of these players, you can never tell whether it's good or bad, the shot, from his reaction. That is bad. Should be more like Cabrera. It's very easy for a commentator.
Done the same thing, isn't he? Not quite such a hard bounce. Having won the 8th, there was a little chance there of nicking another one for Luke Donald. Now he's got his work cut out.
See into the breeze at the 11th, and Mike Weir with that. Well, it was a slice for a left-hander into the trees and back out here, so it's a long way back. And Casey not in the best of shape either in the right-hand bunker.
Well, he's got 143 left.
A bit of good fortune, because the tee shot could have flipped the other way and he'd been chipping out sideways. So he's hanging on.
Stand still on the left there, please.
Mike Weir against Casey.
It's a lovely soft 7-iron from Weir. I think it's probably an 8-iron for Casey out of the bunker. Pretty good lie. Was hitting out of a divot this morning on the fairway and it zipped it back.
Not too much zip on that one at all. Very good shot.
Well, not a very appetising shot here for Campbell. He's still on a bit of a downslope. He hasn't got a lot of green to work with. And the sand trail of the ball into the bunker is really along the line of his backswing. It's going to be extremely difficult for him to get some control on this.
Well, it is manageable because looking at the possibility of perhaps nudging it in the bank and killing it on the upslope.
That's high tariff.
Can be done. Got to play off the back foot and really whip under the ball, slice across it. Mike Waite, his caddy Sponge, has been with him for some time. Does a wonderful thing. He picks up players' golf bags and makes them into bar stools. They're signed, they're very exclusive things, and they really are a delight. So if you've got a bar at home, get one of Michael Waite's chopped off golf bags. Now, is he going to putt this? He's going to give it a lick with a putter.
Saw some on the boat earlier today, those bar stools. I think he brought a couple of them down for sure. I know players who would putt this. Very poor players, but...
Well, that selection of the putter has created an expectant buzz around this green. I think Campbell's got to be very careful here. If he's trying to get so close, he could end up just leaving it in the bunker. If he played a more standard shot, he could get it out to about 10 feet, 12 feet past, have a chance of a 3. Montgomery's ball is lying down in the rough. It's not a certain 3.
He's got this little bit of high pointer. That's his concern. The little black line. Just bumped straight into it.
Even higher tariff. A little route past the right-hand side of the tree there. Actually, it wasn't too bad at all. Things going McKeel's way, and not the way of Luke Donald.
Always a little crusty under the trees, a little bit dry and rooty. Peter Alliss is back in the box. It's never easy when you get behind in a match play situation. You're trying to force things to happen.
Absolutely right, but this is like watching a trick shot exhibition. All sorts of things going on. It's getting a little bit scrappy. Robert Carlson remains 2 up.
And Donald, this effectively, it's 4 apart effectively to remain 6 down, because McKeel is not too far away at all.
When I first saw McKeel's ball behind the tree, I thought he was absolutely dead as a dodo, but not to be. Now this isn't the simplest of little shot, little dab up the hill, and not too bad. There's Montgomery.
Well, that was Campbell's 3rd shot. Montgomery, meanwhile, played his 2nd shot. Never easy to chip and putt from the back of this green. Dug its toes in. It's come up and left him some 5 feet away, 6 feet even. So much pressure on these putts now.
The scoring in this match.
Nothing separating these two in this match so far.
Yeah, Maureen, it's last man standing. Lots of birdies, eagles, but some well, 3 X's for Montgomery, some horror shows for Michael Campbell as well. He had a double bogey at the 15th this morning and a few bogeys sprinkled in there as well.
It's been exhilarating watching, I have to say, though, Andrew. I mean, these blobs that the players have had in their scorecards, that's just akin to the rest of us mere mortals.
Alliss to go 1 up. Four remaining. It wasn't pretty.
It doesn't. I enjoy Montgomery's company, but he really doesn't embrace the crowd or bring them into his world. That was worth a little smile or a wave or something there instead of a I'm off.
You don't want to get in his way as a marshal either. Another big heave from Casey.
Oh, another arm out to the right. Oh, he's okay. That caddy made it look as if, oh, is there a little ditch there?
Just crept past it.
Did it?
Just.
I don't know. I don't know. Well, both Montgomery and Weir have played some extraordinarily wild shots today, and both of them are renowned for their straight hitting. Usually. Another one offline.
That's a long way offline.
It's amazing.
Well, now's the time to pull out the straight driver. Mickelson played in the Masters with a fade one and a draw one. Montgomery and Campbell both need to find their straight ones.
Cries of 4 left. Not coming back, and it's there we are, look out. He has always come back in play. That's ended up quite well. They all gather round and peer down at the ball as they're expecting the lid to come off and a fairy to jump out. That looked to be a bit of a fader. Into the corner, maybe behind the trees and on a little bare patch. I mentioned Great Yarmouth yesterday, Galston Golf Club celebrating their centenary. Speaking to Bruce Forsyth, whose picture appears in their centenary book yesterday, he was saying he remembers the time there spent in when variety was king. He used to play golf with Arthur Haynes. Remember Arthur Haynes, the comedian, Morecambe and Wise, and that great band of variety people who used to play in those far-off days. Well, there you were. That's where they went. Left, one right. The actual arcs, I know you'd be fascinated by that, actual arcs of the ball. Speed, carry. They had an email in asking for the, here we are, Malcolm James Blair. What is the average club head? Well, there you are, Malcolm James Blair. Wouldn't spread that name about too much, but that's the average speed.
Back over here, please. We're coming up that way, okay? It's piled for removal.
A couple of questions whether this might be greenkeeper's cuttings piled for removal, which I don't think it is, or an abnormal ground condition.
Looks as if he's been there a year or two.
Yeah, I think it's more likely possibly an abnormal ground condition he might get relief for.
It's becoming a lift and free drop game.
It's obviously man-made.
He got a great drop at the 6th, Mike Weir.
He did.
To me, it's either a tree stump or the...
Well, I'm not prepared to give you relief on it, but I will offer for the chief referee. Would you like me to do that?
Yeah, I would. I just think
that's fine.
I'd like to see what actually that is. A pile of what is it? I can't really see it from here.
Call it man-made thing.
Come in, Andy.
Just a pile of earth.
Around the tree, isn't it? I think that's just bad luck, surely, isn't it? I mean, golf courses are... They're not supposed to be like a Chelsea flower show everywhere you go.
I think Ian Patterson's decision is he doesn't get relief from it, but he is consulting the chief referee.
I think if you hit it in there, you should expect some nasty things.
I don't think he's too confident he's going to get a free drop here.
Let's look at
Lee Holton from Spain. They've got an email from us to know how 18 holes evolved. He can't really find the answer. Well, it's all a bit blurry, Lee. I was told that the first and the 18th at St Andrews used to be 4 holes. They not made them into 2, and what was left was 18, and they settled for that about 1759 or whenever it was. Long putt, a little bit wide. I think golf just evolved. You know, people played and they went out to the far point and then they turned for home and they just played where they could, and suddenly they came up with 18 holes. There's not much better explanation than that, really.
There's not going to be any immediate action here on the 12th. We're waiting for the US Cavalry, which actually I see in the distance now, charging down in the shape of Andy McPhee.
Andy McPhee is charging?
Well, he's in a buggy.
Ah.
It's very sophisticated cavalry nowadays.
PGA rules, okay. I remember someone scribbled that on the front of a buggy about 25 years ago. No finer man than McPhee.
Sorry, we're busy
out with the Bible.
I just want to get a second thing.
Back to the 15th, Campbell.
Good lie for Campbell, but bad angle. He's got to move the ball left to right to be able to tack this flag.
He has done well. Right over and just a little bit too far. Off the back edge again. I think he was expecting a little bit more applause.
Yes, he actually said get in there. It must have looked as if it might have dropped straight in the hole, but it was a club too big.
Well, Colin Montgomery has hit this tee shot 312 yards, and he's got a perfect angle in. He's over on the left-hand side, just near the tree line, looking straight down at this flag that's tucked back right. 175 to go. 6 iron for Montgomery.
Is he playing out of turn, Maureen?
No, not at all. Campbell's played. Campbell had
I didn't see him. Didn't see him fiddle about.
And somebody's phone has just sounded.
All sorts of stuff going on here.
Chap there in the shots. Oh.
Nah.
Name and shame.
All right.
Did Colin give him a wigging?
He's hanging his head.
He is. Oh dear.
Come on, folks. Come on. Turn your phones off.
They shouldn't even be on the course.
Oh.
It's not really.
Surely they're not members.
Well, Colin's just come out of the little V of spectators there to view the shot, and the rest of us standing 60 yards down all shrank back in towards the ropes. He's quite commanding out here.
Can you imagine him if he was a Shakespearean actor and the phones were going off in the theatre, how he'd be? Looked a good shot.
Great shot.
Good shot. Well done, Colin.
Chap in the shots is clapping enthusiastically.
Oh, God, he
no.
nearly decapitated him then. Oh, crumbs, what a day. I should have gone into business. You get out of it. Well, there's plenty going on, isn't there?
Back at the 10, Luke Donald. Lovely touch. Well, that's a 3, and McKeel is a 4-footer or so for his part. McKeel is 6 up at the moment.
He doesn't miss much, stays 6 up. 8 to play.
Robert Carlson, this for a half against Angel Cabrera, this to remain 2 up. Not a great quality match, but this is another one which may go all the way and beyond.
Mike Weir's been lucky again. Andy McPhee came in and overruled Ian Patterson, decided that mound of earth had been piled, well, not necessarily piled for removal, but that it had come out of a ditch that had been dug 30 yards in front of it. So he gave him a free drop, and he's got away with it.
Knock that one on, maybe even knock in the putt for a birdie.
Tim McCoy has sent us a communication. 2 points he asked. Yesterday he was saying if he thought we said you could go in off your opponent's ball. And years ago you could in match play. If you're playing someone and they putt up to the edge of the hole, you controlled his ball or her ball. And now you don't. The player playing controls the ball, his own ball at all times. So you could go in off, and there was things like stymies. And if your ball gets knocked in on a hole-in-one where there's a cart, your ball has to be replaced. So you would not win the car if it was knocked into the hole by someone else.
The onus really is on Casey too. Oh my goodness, that's ditchwood. Oh, that's back off the timber. Very, very fortunate.
We've seen some extraordinary happenings in the last hour or so. That is amazing.